Thank you. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Grow with Google. Use YouTube to grow your business. Thank you for joining us for the second part of this session with marketing expert and business consultant, David Lee. If you missed our session last week, David took us through the process of creating and organizing your own YouTube channel and how to add new videos. Whether you are just starting out with your video content creation journey, know a few tips but are interested in learning more, or consider yourself an expert, David led us through a session that had something for everyone. And today, for part 2, we get to learn more about how to stream on YouTube Live and work with video ad formats. Unlike the previous era, where small businesses had to pay hefty sums to run their ads on radio and television, today, the platform to reach millions of consumers and broadcast our messages is on our fingertips, literally. With services like YouTube Live, where you can directly engage and interact with your audience in real time, small businesses now have the power to showcase themselves in genuine, authentic ways and build real relationships. But with opportunity comes huge potential, and it's more crucial today than ever to attract the right audience with the right message. At Admerasia, one of the leading multicultural ad agencies in the United States, we're all about connecting with our audience in ways that are unexpected, fresh, and keeps them on our toes. Whether it is web design and development, including creative direction, visual design, copywriting, production, or talent management. Conceptualizing and providing end-to-end event management solutions, including building live streaming platforms from scratch and real-time community management. We do it all. I'm Yashica Dutt. I'm an associate creative director at Admerasia and the author of Coming Out as Dalit, which recently won the Sahitya Akademi Yuva Puraskar among India's highest literary honors. Admerasia and USPACC share a history that spans decades. We have collaborated on several projects, most recently including Live Talk, when we worked together to conduct race relations, a national conversation on race at the crucial moment of anti-Asian hate and the protests against the killing of George Floyd in early months of 2020. And we're collaborating on the upcoming Celebration Conference. For those of us who joined us the last time, David Lee needs no introduction. He's a business consultant, a creative producer, and a digital marketer. David has worked in the marketing and advertising industry for over 10 years and has been recognized by the NJ Ad Club for his extraordinary commitment to marketing. He was awarded the 40 Under 40 Award in 2019 and has experience working with global brands like Pirelli, Nissan, TD Bank, and Bayer, top agencies like TBWA and Omnicom Group, as well as over 200 small businesses and startups and tech companies like LinkedIn. Let's give him a warm welcome. And before we begin, just like the last time, David has graciously agreed to answer a few questions from the audience at the end of the session. So if there's something you'd like to know more about, feel free to ask in the chat. Over to you, David.
Thank you, Yashica. That was awesome.
Thank you.
Everyone, let's jump right in. Today we have the second part of the workshop, and it is using YouTube to grow your business with Grow with Google program. So today we're going to go through how to set up video ads, as well as how to go use YouTube Live. So those are two areas that we're going to be looking at. And feel free to, again, if you have any questions, put it in the chat or the Q&A function in the Zoom call, and we'll get to them at the end of the workshop, as well as through different sections of the workshop today. So the first things that we're going to go through is the YouTube streaming live, right? So this is an area where people want to reach their audience in real time. A lot of times when you're going live, your content actually gets pushed up in the YouTube live dashboard. So for example, if people in New York are going live and people are looking for that live content, there's a good opportunity that they can see your content right then and there. And then also it's just helping you with your search algorithms and search results for your business. So every time you go live, Google and YouTube will actually help lift that content higher in the search rankings if people are looking for that content. So those are reasons why people are going using Google, using YouTube Live. And then for the business that can benefit by going live, you're showcasing your product or your service or behind the scene type of content. You have expert interviews. You might be interviewing an employee or you're interviewing a customer. This is a great way to answer any questions from the audience. You can have a Q&A or frequently asked question sections. And then this is really great for product demos.
So I have a question, David. What
Yes.
type of businesses would benefit from YouTube Live? Is there a particular type of person? Do you have to be in entertainment? Do you have to be a certain type of business, or anybody can benefit from this feature?
Yeah, so you know what? With YouTube, it's very inclusive. It's really dependent on how creative you want to showcase your service or your product for your business or your brand. If you have a message, you can go and use YouTube Live instantly. And there is no, oh, this is great for entertainment. Of course, you see a lot of entertainers using YouTube Live. However, you could be a bakery shop, you could be a landscaper, you could be a doctor, you could be a lawyer. I've seen a lot of different content from various industries. So this is very inclusive type of feature of YouTube. If you don't see a lot of people using it and you're like, oh, well, I sell, comic books and there's not a lot of content out there. That means that you should be producing a lot of content so that people can find you. So those are really great opportunities to go and use YouTube as a video channel, but also YouTube Live. Great question though. We're gonna just jump right in. How to get you started with using YouTube Live. This is the YouTube Studio dashboard, and everybody from the first part of the workshop, setting up your channel and uploading video. It's a very similar process, and YouTube has done a great job of doing a step-by-step kind of process here. So you want to enable your live streaming, and you can schedule these. Typically, if you want to go live instantly, you can do that, but there's times where you're gathering people together. So you can also let people know that you can schedule a YouTube live session at particular date and time. And then all you have to really do when you're ready is to hit that go live button, and then it will start actually recording. So for people who are new to the channel, you would basically be running it off of a camera that's attached to your laptop or your laptop camera or your desktop camera. The next up, you want to make sure that you find the right icons, which we just mentioned about. And then right from there, you're going to actually put in some of the information about your live stream, such as the name of the content. You can adjust different audience settings. So if the content is more geared towards certain people or certain geographic area, you can kind of do that. We talked about the scheduling, and then also you can put a thumbnail. These are some things that you want to do, be prepared of prior to going live. And so we mentioned about being prepared for going live, right? This is a checklist that YouTube provided for us, and this is a great way to kind of help you at ease, because I know going live, is not the most easiest thing. So it's always great to be prepared. Test your tech, right? It's making sure that your computer is fully charged, your camera's ready, and stuff like that. Making sure that the time where you're filming or the location is all set. Make sure you have the description so that people can find that content easier. You want to make sure that you have the right thumbnail. You want to have a high contrast, clear thumbnail so that when people are browsing the live dashboard, they can see your content much easier. And then just making sure that you announce to the people that are in the video as well as your audience when that live stream is going to happen. And then during the live stream, this is also very important. You want to feature your channel. You want to make sure you have call to actions. Call to actions are just, what do you want the audience to do? Do you want them just to view the content, or do you want them to do something after viewing that live stream? It's good to kind of be impromptu and go off the cuff, but it's always, reassuring to your audience if you have a delivering of a opening and then closing remarks. So this way, they know what to do and what to expect. Always stay on track of your subject matter. So if you're demoing a product, don't talk about other things unless if it's related. And then also try to be in the shoes of your audience. Answer their questions before they ask them. If you're filming about a product demo, make sure you talk about the features and functions and the specs of the product. And then create highlight clips. When you go live, you can also view other videos during that session. So you can create highlight clips from that live video, or input live video into those live stream moments. And then post live. What do you do after you're done, right? So publish the live stream onto your channel. And this is a great way for that content to live a little bit longer. For folks that weren't there at the moment, they can view it at a later time. You can put it in different playlists, right? Like we were talking about, if it's a product demo, you might want to put it in your product playlist. If it's an event, behind the scenes type of live session, then you put it in your events playlist. So it's much easier for you to organize, but also for your audience to find the content. And then, yeah, you can use that content later on. So if it's, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I had a question. Didn't mean to interrupt, David, but your information is so interactive. There's so much that's going on through my mind. I'm wondering, how are businesses using live video? As in, what are some good content ideas for them to show live, depending on what kind of business they are, of course?
Yeah, we mentioned this briefly, but I can go into a little bit more detail. The type of live stream content that people want to see is usually behind the scenes, right? So if you're hosting an event, they get to see the show, what's in front of the curtain or what's on stage, but then behind the scenes, how are you prepping for this event? Who's involved? Those type of content people want to see, and sometimes you don't want it to be readily available on the channel, right? You want to say, for those who are very advocate followers or brand ambassadors of yours, they get to see it because they're following you all the time. So you're giving them kind of a reward and say, hey, look, you're following me all the time, and guess what? Because you're doing that, we're doing this live stream, you get to see the behind the scenes footage, content that's not readily available to everyone at any time. It's at that moment. So if you have content that's kind of in the moment, like it's not readily available online, those are all great opportunities to go and do a YouTube live stream. And it can be any type of business, any type of subject matter. It's really how creative you want it to be. So yeah, those are the type of contents that would be great for live stream.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you, David.
Yeah, no problem. Well, next up, now you have uploaded a video, know how to create a channel, know how to go live on YouTube. Next up is really, how do you promote your business with video ads, right? And then I'd love to share this great video that YouTube has provided for us. It's going to follow one small business called Tulanes Closet, and how they're utilizing YouTube and video ads to grow their business. So this is about a minute long, so let's watch it together.
Normally, after a surgical procedure, pets typically go home with what's called a cone or an e-collar. My name is Stephanie Seiberg, and I am the owner and developer of Tulanes Closet. when I was in veterinary medicine, I had a lot of clients come and ask me if there was something else out there that they could use, and that's how it kind of got started. I had an idea. It's a one-piece post-surgical pet garment. The advantages of the Cover Me by Chewy is that they can eat, sleep a lot easier than wearing a coat. They can actually get through the doggy door. They can relax comfortably. The video can show people what it's made out of, how to put it on, how easy it is to use the potty cover. Business or small business owners like myself. Because as you see that business is growing, you can always add to that at any time. We have doubled almost every year since we started in 2013. There's so many people now that really consider their pet their family and they want them to be comfortable. I think a lot of dogs are a lot happier right now.
That was a great video. Hopefully you were able to take away that message with Tulanes Closet. Oops. About that. We have a video that's singing in the background. Give me 1 second. But I wanted to bring it back to the presentation here with Tulanes Closet is that we really like that video because it really showcases how a small business in a very niche type of industry, right? Dog garments, apparel, if you will, how they grew from 2013 to now, almost like, every year they mentioned doubling their business. And this is a great way for people to utilize YouTube. They were talking about how to use the product, showcasing the product, what the product's made of, and all the different customers that they have that are using the product, right? And just brings it a better story for their business. So, that's one way to shoot a YouTube video ad. It's about 1 minute long. It was very engaging from start to end. And there's ways for people to actually utilize snippets of that to create little ads, right? So we're going to jump right into exploring the different advertising options on YouTube. And these are all the different formats, right? For those who watch a lot of YouTube videos, you might have seen some of these ads as you're watching your favorite content creator. There's the bite size, which is about a 6-second long video. Snack size is about 15 to 20 seconds, and anything over 30 seconds is a meal. I like the little descriptions they have here, but then on our left-hand side here, you got the bumper ads, non-skippable in-stream ads, out-stream ads, as well as the discovery ads and in-stream ads. So there's a lot of different options for all different budget levels and also different types of video content.
David, I mean, the video that we saw about Tulanes Closet, everybody loves dogs, right? But, it was shot really well. These soft shots and the dogs in the park and the fur flying was all very beautiful. But really, for a small business, what does it take to shoot that level of a high quality ad? What does it take to film a YouTube ad? How good does it need to look to be an ad on YouTube?
Right. So, my answer to that is really, it's dependent on how creative you want your ad to be, right? And then now that one with Tulanes Closet, you can see as simple as it looks, I know there's a lot of production that goes behind that, right? The different camera angles, the editing, the music, the text overlay. And some people, when I start describing that, they say, oh, that's a little bit complex for me. I'm just a small business. I just started last year. I don't have big budgets. I don't know Hollywood production to create this video ad. And my answer to that really is, it's okay. You don't need a lot. In our first workshop, we talked about all the different resources you need, right? So you would need, at a minimum, your cell phone camera is good enough. It shoots in HD. It would shoot in the format for YouTube. And also, you might want an external mic if you want to pick up better audio. And then a lot of the editing can be done on the YouTube channel dashboard. So when you upload that video, you can actually cut and splice those different frames together. You can overlay text. You can actually overlay audio as well. you almost, in a sense, have a whole studio within your laptop. So those are all the things, different resources and components to make a video for YouTube. And you don't need to be, Steven Spielberg to create those type of videos. You really just need to, follow the step-by-step that YouTube has laid out in their YouTube Academy. There's also other resources online to teach you how to use your camera phone to shoot the best video. Editing wise, you can edit, like I said, in YouTube dashboard. And then also there's other editing software out there that can help you create that type of video that you want.
Yeah, that's excellent advice. And for those of us who missed the first session, I would highly recommend you to go back and look at it, because there were some super valuable insights, especially in the cluttered world that we live in, on how to create really good quality content. Back to you, David. Thank you.
Awesome. So why are we creating video ads, right? Just like TV ads, it's the more times people see them, the more times they see them, the more opportunity they have to associate with the product, the service, or the brand, right? So you are probably most familiar when you're watching content on YouTube, you get these little bumper ads, right? They're about 6 seconds long, and in front of the video, before you want to get to the content creator's video, they show you an ad. So this one right here, just to give you a quick stat, 9 in 10 drive significant lift in ad recall with average lift of 38%. What does that mean? That means on average, about 40% are going to get an ad recall. They're going to remember your brand, remember that product if they see it often enough to, see the product and then engage with it. So it does work. A lot of different businesses are doing it, and it's a much efficient, cost-efficient way of advertising your product via video instead of doing a full-on cable TV ad or TV commercial. TrueView ads. Now, this is a ad format that I recommend to a lot of small businesses who are starting out with video commercials on YouTube, because the benefit of it is after 5 seconds, the viewer has the ability to skip, right? So you're able to get a free view of your ad in 5 seconds. Now, that's also the same time when we talked about in the previous workshop, the amount of time that you need to engage with your viewer so that they can watch the whole video, right? So this is great for small businesses. Why? Because if the viewer watches 30 seconds or till the end of your ad, then you pay for that ad, right? So essentially, you're getting free 5 seconds view on your video ad, but if they watch the whole thing, then they pay for it. So a lot of people get creative and they try to get a lot of the views in the first 5 seconds, right? If they can close you then with the call to action and get you to click through to their website, essentially you don't pay YouTube anything unless if they watch the whole ad. So there's a benefit there. Next up, we have companion banners. You might have seen this a lot with larger brands. A lot of times if you're watching some type of video, the ad shows up, but then you also have this green. You see outlined here in green, their logo or their tagline or some type of display banner to accompany your ad. And those are typical when you're running a skippable ad. So these are all the different ad types.
So there's a question that already came up, and thank you so much, everybody who's sending in your questions. Please keep sending them. Somebody asked, how much money should they put aside? How much should a business budget for a YouTube ad be? What if we don't have a huge budget? Can we still leverage this platform in a way that is useful for our business?
Yes, great question, and a question that's sometimes, there's no straight answer because every business is different. Every, marketing goal is different. So it really depends, and it's relative to your business, right? So I would say if you're selling a low price item, for example, it could be notebooks or writing utensils or a cupcake, right? These are considered more low cost products. you might want to start out with a lower budget, right? Maybe $500 to $1,000 to target your state or your region, depending how big your store is, right? Now, if you are selling cars and you want to reach a larger audience and you have, you want to capture a lot of different viewers, then yeah, you might want to increase your budget to maybe 1,000 to 2,000 or more, right? Essentially, you want to make sure that these people view the ads a couple of times. Remember the previous slide, we talked about ad recall. That's how many times people see your ad until they recognize your brand or the product and then engage with it, right? So if you have a smaller budget, you're only getting one view per audience, right, for that video. Whereas some of your competitors or other businesses would opt to have a higher budget and see that their audience views that video at least 5, 6, 7 times. So they are able to recognize the brand or the product or the service and then click through. So it's all relative to your business and your goals and your objectives. But I would say if you have a low price item, you can always test with about $500 to $1,000 to start off. And then bigger price ticket items, like if you're buying a boat or a car or something like that, the budget typically increases a lot more, so up into the thousands range. But yeah, that would be my answer to what the budget for YouTube ads.
Thanks, David.
No problem. We are going to just recap what we have learned in the workshops previously and also for today. So you know what? After this workshop, you should be able to create your own channel, create and upload videos, and then also exploring the other resources that Google and YouTube has provided to small businesses in order for them to really grow their business through all the marketing tools that YouTube and Google offers. Creator Academy. So you know what? All the things that we talked about today and the previous workshop, that's just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more resources, material for you to learn. If you really want to dive deep into creating your channel, doing all the best practices, I would highly recommend going to the YouTube Creator Academy. The link is provided there on the lower left-hand corner there. This is what the homepage looks like. And this is where a lot of content creators started out. So your famous, celebrity influencers who went from having only 100 followers to, over 1 million followers, they all had to kind of view this material in order to get started with their YouTube channel. And then a lot of the training and that we provide, as well as the Creator Academy, once you get to a certain level, you can actually become a creative partner in YouTube's program here. So this is an area where the YouTube actually helps out, content creators, businesses with their videos. Whether it's creating ads or creating videos, you can come to YouTube ads here and find all the different resources and get connected with them.
So David, before we
Yeah.
jump on to the other aspects, I'm curious about this Creators Fund. I mean, I'm sure a lot of our small business owners watching it also want to know, how many followers do we need before we can access these excellent resources? Thousands, hundreds? What is that magic number?
Yeah, so YouTube actually, when I say recently, changed that metric, which is how many followers you get until you can unlock some of the features and the cool functions of YouTube channels, is 1,000 followers and 4,000 hours viewed on your channel. So, a lot of people say that's 4,000 hours, that's a lot. But if you have 10 videos and people viewed it, X amount of times, you can quickly accumulate those watch hours really quickly. And then also just like the subscribers, right? We're talking about followers, subscribers are very synonymous. 1,000 is a quite hefty number for someone who's just starting out. But when you recommend your channel to friends, families, customers, internal teams, you can quickly build those numbers up. So once you surpass that number, the YouTube channel unlocks a lot of features and benefits to you. After that threshold, typically if you're in the thousands, we're talking about maybe 5,000, 10,000 and up of subscribers, YouTube actually would open up some of their partner programs to you. This way they will help you with creating content, maybe potentially create ads for you. So that way, you're creating more content for the channel and you're bringing more audience to YouTube. So it's a win-win situation there.
I guess that brings us to the end of the webinar. Thank you so much for that terrific session, David. There is so much information out there about these concepts, right? But it can get so overwhelming, especially if you're starting out, to try and take it all in one go. But I'm sure our audience, and myself included, will appreciate your neat breakdowns and step-by-step introductions to each subject. Now, if you remember anything from the last session, is that you're an expert at answering audience questions. Let's take a few, shall we?
Yeah, let's go.
Absolutely. Okay, so let me pull up the questions. Give me 1 second right here, please.
Oh, Yashica, you're muted.
My bad. I guess there was one question about the budget that somebody wanted to know, but I already addressed that. Tracy wanted to know, what can I do if I don't have a big budget for YouTube ads? And more or less, you answered that. Is there something else that you'd like to add?
Yeah, I also have clients in the past that would say, hey, look, I know you mentioned about starting a YouTube advertising program for maybe $500 or $1,000, which is a little bit on the low end. I don't even have $500 to spend on the production or the advertising. No problem. We live in a great time and world where you can leverage partnerships, right? So not to say you will be partnering with your competitor in the same industry, but maybe you will partner with your clients, or you will partner with somebody who's not directly competing with you on creating content to share the video across multiple channels. And that's one way to increase the viewers, right? A lot of times people say, well, I can't reach, 10,000 people. But if you have maybe 10 other people that and they all have maybe 100 subscribers, there you go. There's 1,000 views or followers right there. So I would say get creative on how to really expand on your video content with other partners and collaborators, possibly, with customers or vendors. And all it really takes is asking that question. Hey, look, I'm looking to do this video on YouTube. Would you be interested in doing it with me? And if they have a YouTube channel with a couple of subscribers there, guess what? They're going to say, oh, wow, I didn't know that you work with this person or that brand. And then it becomes more of a community rather than you working on your video alone.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, David. I think, there are ways to maximize what we have and build collaborations, because online digital space is based so much on collaborative energies, right? So let's get into our next question. You've done it excellently today. And I'm sure if our audience were to look for your content online, they would see that you do an excellent job of managing this. But Rachel wants to know, how can I connect with my viewers on my YouTube Live while also being the host? What if I'm a one-person team?
Yeah, that's a great question. So a lot of times what I've seen with a single host, right? You're shooting the video and you want to, kind of do what we're doing now, answering questions on the fly. What I see a lot of influencers and content creators do is, now this is probably not available to everybody if you're only using your phone to do the live stream. Typically, they will have their laptop set up and their phone set up, so that they're streaming from one device, but then able to answer questions on the other, right? So you will be viewing your own live stream and as you answering questions or through the video. You don't have to type and reply back to people. Maybe later after the post portion of your live stream, you can do, you know, follow-ups there. But in the moment on your live stream, you can talk to your audience and you can see, hey, a question came in from Rachel. I'm going to answer that right now. And that's how you would engage with your audience, being a single camera, single host type of live stream. That's how I would handle it, is making sure that your laptop is there, but then also on your cell phone, you're streaming off of that camera. This way you can kind of dynamically multitask, right? Getting the live stream, getting the content through the phone, and then replying and looking at the questions that are coming through the live stream on your laptop.
Yeah, that's an excellent way. I mean, for those of us who watch Adele's latest live stream, it was pretty hilarious to watch her navigate the questions in real time. And, you know, those are the organic moments that, you know, we can use to build that personal connection with an audience. And when they see us, maybe not being too perfect on camera, they realize that we're human beings. We're relatable to them, just like them. So that's a great answer. Thank you so much for that. We have our last question, which is sent by Andy, who wants to know, can I use my regular content as a YouTube ad? Is that possible? What stuff that I already have, can I repurpose that? Or should I shoot more stuff, new stuff?
Yes. Yes. So the easy answer to that is yes. So for example, if you shot a 5-minute video and you're like, well, I posted that last year, should I still use it again? Digital content can be recycled, repurposed at any moment, right? A lot of times, if it's relevant and it's good information, good content that you can share, why not, right? So don't spend extra time or extra resources to create a new video if, you know, the content that you already created last year or last month suffice, right? You can snip and, you know, remix that video into a video format. I saw his Andy's follow-up question, which was the format. Which one do I choose between bite size, snack size, meal size video, right? So if you were remembering what we went through on those are different like video submissions, right? Then you have the true view ads and you have the skippable ads and so forth. It's really coming down to how well can you convey your message or your product, your service within that 5 seconds, right? If you can do that in 5 seconds, that's great. Go with that video ad format. If it's a longer form, if you really want to drive home a certain message and 5 seconds is just not enough, then you need to bump that timing up. Also remember, with the TrueView ads, you can submit a 30-second commercial video. However, you're only paying YouTube when the viewer watches the whole entire ad. If they skip it at the 5-second mark, guess what? That's free, 5 free seconds of viewing of your ad before they skip it, right? So that's something to consider when people ask me, oh, do I shoot a 5-second ad or do I shoot a 30-second ad? You can always shoot a 30-second ad and then chop that up into 5 seconds if you can, right? It's easier said than done. So I always tell people, how well can you convey that message in that short amount of time? If you can do it, do it. If you can't, go for the 30-second or even the snack size content, which is about 20 to 25 seconds. So that would be my answer there.
Thank you so much, David. I am sure that this was super valuable for all of us. And even if you're not ready to launch a YouTube channel tomorrow, your insights make the process seem so much more accessible and less overwhelming. Personally, I learned so much as I did from the last session, and I do have a YouTube channel. I did know some of the things you talk about, but even so, this knowledge and expertise that you're offering is extremely valuable. So thank you for that. To our audience, we really hope you enjoyed this session. For more such content, you can stay connected with the USP ACC for a variety of their upcoming fall and winter programming, like the Synergy Forward Celebration Business Development Conference coming soon in just a few weeks. Just to give a small shout out to this incredible platform, which is built solely to connect minority and diverse owned businesses to government-owned organizations and corporate entities. Sometimes, despite the talent and the hard work, getting a foot in the right door becomes the most challenging part of running a small business. You're only as good often as your connections. At the Celebration Conference, USPACC will connect you to the right networks and set you on the path to success. Registration for minority and diverse owned businesses is free, so remember to register if you haven't already done that. On that note, we thank you again for joining us today, and we hope to bring you more such exciting webinars in the future. Thank you so much. We would also recommend you go and watch the first session, the first part of the session of this workshop, where David took the time to take us through how to create content for YouTube. And like I mentioned in the beginning, whether you are an entry-level somebody who's starting with your journey on content creation, whether you're in the middle or you're an expert, there is something that you can learn. There's something for everybody to learn from there. On that note, thank you so much. Goodbye, and have a wonderful rest of your evening. Thanks, everybody.